Hey everyone, Coach Burke here with Run Burke, putting together a video on some tips on how to transition from high school to college running and just how to do that successfully. Hoping that you guys have a great transition and a great college career. That transition can sometimes be difficult with a new team, new coach, new environment. And so hopefully these tips allow you to just make that transition smoothly. So here are 8 tips. Let's go. Tip number 1 is trust the process and be patient. I see it all the time. I see athletes that come in and they want it and they want it now. They don't want to be patient. They want this success right away. And one thing that I always say to them is distance running takes time. It's consistency over time equals a great distance runner. And so trust the process, be patient, trust that your coach is going to get you there, and just put in the hard work every day. That's what's going to make you best. So trust the process and be patient. Tip number 1. Tip number 2 is do not compare yourself to your teammates or others. Comparison is the thief of joy. That's one thing my coach always told me when I was in college. Comparison, the first thing it's going to do is just ruin your experience. And so know that your body's going to react differently than someone else's body. You might get better faster, or you might get better slower, or you might do better from different workouts, or you might not. So just take the time, allow it to soak in. Don't compare yourself, and put in the work that you need to put in. Do your best, and you can expect the results to show up. Yes, strive after where other people are, where other teammates are, but don't compare yourself and say, I should be right there because I did the exact same things. It's all different, relative, based on each person. It's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is to communicate really well with your coach. Guys, I love it when my athletes communicate well with me, whether it's a simple thing such as an injury going on or a setback. I don't know your bodies, you know your body the best. And so when you communicate, you're just giving us valuable information and we can make adjustments according. We want you to succeed just as much as you want to succeed, right? And so if we don't know what's going on, we can't help you. And so communicate really well. You can take care of little things. You don't have to communicate every little ache and pain, but when there is a major thing going on or a family situation or something, communicate with us because we understand that stress on your body is going to affect you just like, a workout would affect you. And so tip number 3 is to communicate. Tip number 4 is don't try to impress. Don't try to impress your coach. Don't try to impress your other teammates. Listen to the plan. One thing that I have found is athletes love to run fast all the time. And one thing that we do on our team is our easy runs are easy. And so, maybe for a guy that's 7:30 pace, maybe even up to 8-minute pace, I don't really care how slow they run. For a lady that's 8:30, 9-minute pace plus, we take our easy runs easy. And so if my athlete is out there showing off and they're coming in and they're running 7 flat pace or 6:30 pace or whatever the case is for the athlete, they're ruining the plan and they're likely going to get injured because I'm basing their plan off of running slow. And so do what your coach is asking you to do, and if you don't feel like you're being pushed enough, communicate that with them. Let them know, and maybe they'll make adjustments, maybe they won't. Sometimes it's a matter of, hey, this is part of the plan, we're going a little easier right now, but we'll bring that up later. However, sometimes it's like, oh, okay, I didn't know you could handle more, and we'll bump this up just a little bit. So again, all about that communication, but don't try to impress. Listen to what your coach is saying. That's tip number 4. Tip number 5 is to follow the plan. Your coach has a plan for you, or at least they should have a plan for you. That plan might not be super specific. It might be kind of a long-term, here's the idea of what we're trying to accomplish. But there should be a plan, and that plan never goes perfectly or according to plan. However, it's not going to go according to plan if you don't follow the plan, right? And so your coach has something that they want to get you from point A to point B, and this is kind of the perfect plan, and you're going to kind of do this. But if you're kind of going this direction, you're not going to get to that goal that they want you to get to, because ultimately they are trying to guide your experience, and each coach coaches differently. So one plan might be different than another plan, but you're still getting from A to B. You might just be going this route instead of this route. And so trust the plan, trust your coach. Kind of goes back to some of the others. That is tip number 5. Tip number 6. This one goes without saying, but don't lie on especially your log or anything like that. I understand there's some intimidation when it comes to maybe communication with your new coach, especially with like, hey, I'm sick, I'm, something's going on. The last thing that you want to do is like lie on your log and say you ran 5 miles and you actually didn't, because now your coach thinks you ran 5 miles and you're ready for 6 miles. And you're not ready for 6 miles yet. And so again, it goes without saying, but communicate well with your coach, and don't be afraid to let them know like, hey, something's going on. Most of us are pretty understanding, but it's a lot better when you do it that way rather than you fake something. This is one area where fake it till you make it, not true. You cannot fake it until you make it in running, because you won't make it. And so just be honest, and again, goes back to communication. Communicate really well. So that's tip number 6. Tip number 7. Expect it to be different. College running is much different than high school running. Your coach is going to be different. Your team is going to be different. There's going to be so many things that are different, and just expect that. Know that your training is going to look differently, and part of the reason is because you have a different coach. Another reason is because you're trying to accomplish something different. Now you're trying to accomplish maybe a greater athletic performance every time you compete. Not only that, but you're probably going to compete a lot less. In high school, typically, at least around here, the high schoolers compete 10 to 15 times a season. We only compete about 5 times a season as a college team. And so just expect it to be different, and know that, again, your coach is going to have a plan and get you there. Trust that process. It all goes back to the other tips. Trust that process, and it's going to be all right. So that was tip number 7. Tip number 8, and the final tip, is do not freak out if you start to struggle. It is perfectly normal, folks, to struggle when you transition to college. I remember my first time, and I watch every single year our freshmen, when their parents leave, all of a sudden they're like, uh-oh, what's about to, your entire life just changes. And so us as coaches, we realize that. We realize that there's a lot of stress on you as you transition to college. And every year I have athletes who struggle, who come to me and they're stressed out, they're just uncomfortable. And so that's okay. But know that through those uncomfortable moments, you're going to grow. And usually that sophomore year, it's a totally different person. They are thriving, they are excited to be there, and honestly, they don't even want to go home most of the time. And so just know that you'll get through that, and know that it'll be okay. Surround yourself with good people and a good support system, which the team typically is. And just make good friends, and don't go home all the time. Struggle through that. So that is tip number 8, and the final tip. I hope that these tips were helpful for you in your transition from high school to college. Let me know if there's other things that you want to hear about. I'd love to make content on what you want to know about. And so just leave a comment below. Also, feel free to like and subscribe, and I hopefully get some more content up here soon about things that maybe interest you. And I want to just use my experience as a college coach and a runner myself in order to help others with their running journey. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching, and God bless.